So, here we are again. Welcome to my GPA series. Today, I want to appeal to students to understand the importance of research at tertiary level. Research goes hand in hand with academic writing. Recap that I did academic writing and went into the details, the characteristics of academic writing, and the standards that apply to each of those characteristics. Just to recap, academic writing, in essence, requires that you maintain standards in how you present your work, and these are skills that you have to develop. For some, it may come easier, however, it requires practice and constant application. Tone, diction, language, punctuation all add up to academic conventions. And remember, academic conventions are about specific formats that you are required to present your work. So, for example, you would have heard of APA formats, MLA formats, Chicago style formats. So, today's lesson is not about academic writing. Merely, I want to draw that connection to students in understanding why research is so important. I keep talking about skills, and I'm saying that at tertiary level, skills in academic writing and in research will be developed over a period of time, and no way would you achieve ultimate standard, but as you go along, you will improve, and as you improve, the academic process, the research process, ought to be easier, or at least it should not overwhelm you as you would have felt when you first started university. Now, this is why I emphasize to students that each time they approach an assignment, understand that an assignment is a drill exercise in achieving skills in academic writing and skills in research. Every time you get an assignment helps you to broaden your subject, whatever subject discipline you are engaging in, an assignment ought to encourage you to broaden your scope of understanding the subject. Further to that, an assignment encourages you or forces you to explore the related topics within your subject discipline. How do you go about exploring? Naturally, you will have to research these topics. And in the process of taking on assignments, you develop a sense of personal responsibility, because remember, this is tertiary level and you now are taking on a project with minimal supervision and merely with guidance. Guidance from your lecturer, guidance from faculty standards provided to you via your courses, and guidance from your lecturer. Also, with assignments, you will develop organization skills. Now, these organization skills would be how you present your academic work and how you go about getting the information that is necessary for each assignment. And from first year on to final year, this is a cycle and an ongoing exercise. And it goes beyond bachelor's level onto postgraduate and into the world of work. So this is why I am so passionate about helping students not only to develop the necessary research skills, but to please approach research as a journey, as an opportunity to explore. It is an adventure. I know students tend to become overwhelmed, and to the extent that some are tempted to give up. And I'm saying, each time you feel that way, understand you are not the only person to feel this way. We all would have had our experiences with research. So I'm going to try to tie in with some key areas the understanding of the necessity of maintaining standards via developing your skills in research. Now, there is a connection between the two, because in order to arrive at the necessary standards of academic writing, you must have developed your analytical skills. There must be professionalism in your work and a reflection of the type of research you would have invested in your assignment. Analytical thinking is all about making sense of the information. And by making sense, I'm saying that as soon as you go about gathering information for your assignment, whether it's a research paper with a topic assigned by a lecturer, or you're in your final year and you're now preparing for your thesis, making sense of the information is about going out, getting information, and ensuring that it falls within the realm of your study. You then have to evaluate the information, because apart from making sense of it, evaluating goes further into understanding the context of the information and looking at the value of the information to the extent that it will substantiate the position that you are going to take when you begin your paper. Critical thinking, remember we talked about critical thinking, and critical thinking reflects in every aspect of tertiary education. Professionalism will come about when you have quality information, when your information is organized, and when you present quality. Now, quality information will be different from quality presentation. Quality information will come about when you develop your research skills, when you really make use of the research process. And the organization really is about not just yourself being organized and managing your time, but organization of your work and ensuring that it falls within the specifications of the academic conventions. And whether you are first year or final year, organization is important, because as soon as you get a topic, whether the topic was given to you by the lecturer or you have to select your own topic, even if we are talking about an oral presentation, you must organize your work. You must begin with what your topic is. You then get to the gathering of the information, so you have background information. You then have to create drafts, and by drafts we are not talking about one paper. A draft will have multiple editions, and I know that is a stage that becomes a challenge for students. We'll get into that later on. But keeping in mind that organizing means that you have to go through a step-by-step process. And the step-by-step process does not mean that you have to follow that sequence. Merely that in getting your topic together, gathering your information, and creating drafts, and editing as you go along, and citing your sources, keeping your sources close, it means that you are taken away from that level of stress that students tend to experience because they feel that they are now in a chaotic world. And then we talk about research skills. Throughout the academic writing process, research skills are always necessary and key. With research skills, it's about evaluating your sources. It's about ensuring that your information is current and it's within the context of your study. And it's about the relevance. And in relevance, we are talking about, notwithstanding you will be covering a particular subject area, but ensure that the information is relevant in terms of time, in terms of the angle which you may want to present your work. So let's use a live example. To plug in everything said here, let's use a live example. I will talk about marijuana, not because I subscribe to it, but because it's such a live topic. And it goes in so many different directions. Marijuana use. You want to write a paper on marijuana use. Do you subscribe to marijuana use for medicinal purposes? Because of itself, marijuana use, again, can go off into different directions. For example, marijuana use can be about amounts. Do you decriminalize the amount that a person is using? Marijuana use is about recreational use. Do you think that person should be allowed to smoke marijuana, use marijuana within the confines of their home and not be punished by law. There is also marijuana use medicinally. And if we are talking about medicinally, then we have to talk about prescriptions, we are talking about measured use. So this is not the argument about marijuana per se, but really just to show how we apply what is necessary at tertiary level when approaching a topic. So you are going to do a presentation on marijuana use for medicinal purposes. Okay? And we apply the features of academic writing. Analytical thinking, where you're going to make sense of the info. So making sense of the info means that you are now going to research the use of marijuana for medicinal purposes. So immediately you narrow your search, not specifically within that topic, but really narrowing your search to look at medicinal use and the type of literature that will cover that area. So then we are talking about medical journals, medical discussions. We are talking about journals that will provide research, quality research in that field, or see if there has been any research and how current that research is. How do you evaluate the information? If we are talking about medical use and we are talking about reading of journals and periodicals and so forth, then obviously we would want to draw from quality research from medical practitioners. And by medical, we are not talking about necessarily general practice alone, as a matter of fact. When we are talking about evaluating the information and checking your sources and relevance, in this instance, when you are doing research for marijuana used for medicinal purposes, understand that the literature can still be broad because we have varying perspectives. For example, physiologists would look at the use of marijuana and how it affects the body functions. Then we have psychologists, we have psychiatrists. And so all these people are within the medical field, but you have to make sense of the information, and the information must be in a context. I'm using this example to show how important the research process and the steps in research, how important they are in relation to maintaining the standards of academic writing. Now, this, as I said, is really an appeal, and I try to break it down and speak the language to really encourage students. At this point, I'm saying, rather than be overcome with the process or with your paper, take a step back, organize your thoughts, jot everything down that relates to your research. At this stage, you don't want a refined and finished product. Understand what is necessary in your research, take your time with your research, get it down in your draft. Do not preoccupy yourself with a perfect finish. You are far from perfect. But as long as you organize and you plan, then you should not find yourself in a crisis trying to meet deadlines. And by wanting to meet deadlines, what happens is you then compromise the standard of your work, and your work ethic will be poor. Now, the work ethic relates to the quality of your research, and it relates to the type of sources you use, the type of information that you represent in your work. And as long as you do not manage and organize your time, you will compromise. And so the ethic in your work is going to be poor, and then it's going to fall short of the academic process, and then this is where you would have really wasted your time, basically. So I will get into each aspect separately, particularly when it comes to research. I will do a particular presentation on not just the research process, but to take some key areas of research and try to plug it back and allow you to see that it is not difficult to overcome. It is challenging, but that you should look forward to it as an adventure. So again, here is to really helping students in achieving their goals academically. And until next time, keep at it and keep the faith.